I want to start off this video by wishing you all a Happy New Year's. I know when I'm releasing this video, it's January 3rd, so I'm a little behind, but Happy New Year's. This is going to be a quick video. It's not scripted. I put together a basic outline of what I wanted to say. I think there's some important things that need to be covered very quickly in this video. And so let's jump into it. But before we do, let me start off by saying I'm sorry I haven't uploaded as much content in the last month and a half here on the channel. The views have gone down significantly, and I'll be honest, I just got tied up in November launching our new membership area. I was a little burnt out afterwards. When I launched it, I had to just spend a lot of time getting things up and running, and I just had to pull back for a second from the channel over this last month, and to be honest, just kind of take a break. And on top of that, I've kind of gotten tired of the bad news videos, the doom and gloom videos. Now, I know they tend to do really well in this community, but if I'm just being perfectly honest, I don't really enjoy releasing them. And when I release a strong, well thought out how-to video, that's when I feel that I'm really doing something to bring help to this community. And that's really all I want for this channel. I want to be able to provide useful information that you can take, it's actionable information, and you can implement in your life. And so I took some time off here recently to really think through the direction of the channel this year. And we're going to be changing things up a bit. And I'll talk a little more about that at the end of the video. But for now, let's start off by discussing what I think are going to be critical decisions that we have to make this year. This is going to really, in my opinion, and I'm not the only one saying this, and I've talked to some other individuals within our space, and I think really you can summarize this coming year, this year is the year of the prepper. Prepper's gone mainstream. It's no longer just some fringe, conspiracy theory, yada, 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 the way it's always been painted in the past. But people are increasingly realizing the value of being prepared for an uncertain world. And we're seeing a lot of references to prepping more and more in the media. It's, again, not just being relegated to the fringe anymore. In the past several years, if they've shown us anything, it's how unpredictable life can be, how things can change quickly, on a dime, almost seemingly overnight. And it reminds us of the importance of being prepared. And no matter where you are on that spectrum, whether you're an individual that just says, hey, I want to prep for Tuesday, just make sure I have, enough food on hand, I've got my retirement, my insurance, whatever it is, and if that's how you view prepping, to someone on the other end of the extreme that looks at it from a Mad Max perspective, this world's going that direction. I don't care really where you are. The key is I think we're all in the same boat. We see an uncertain future, and we realize that it's on us to prepare. And look, as we look at this new year, I don't want to start putting out resolutions and things that like, hey, let's go for this and that. But rather, me personally, I tend to step back periodically. And what I try to do is I try to form a vision of where I want to be. And then I work backwards to get to that dream, that goal. So here's some of the critical decisions that I'm making this year to enable me to get to where I want to be. And I think these are going to be important for the community as well. And let me lead off, and I talk about this a lot on the channel, and we'll talk more. Well, let me just go ahead and start off with the first point, is physical well-being. I think it's so critical that we don't relegate this to just a discussion that comes up every now and then. But what we're going to be doing on this channel, we're releasing a video this weekend where it's going to be the first of a 5-part video series on physical fitness. And again, this is not a resolution, but really helping in establishing good guidelines for you, the community, to enable you to develop this as a way of life. I've been working, for several months now with a Marine. He's a subscriber on this channel. He handles PT programs within the Corps, and we built out what I believe is going to be a very smart program for this community to enable you to walk through and build the practical physical fitness, health, diet, all these things that are so crucial but so often overlooked. So definitely check that video. We'll release it this Saturday. Now, the second point, and I think a critical decision we have to make, is whether you will build community or not, and whether you'll get serious about that. We've talked about it off and on over the last few years on this community, or on this channel. We've talked about the importance of community. And as you know, again, I launched an online community back in November. When I launched it, I kind of had an idea of it would be a certain tool to provide certain useful information for my community. But what it's really quickly morphed into is people just want to connect on a local basis. And so we've been building out plugins and tools to allow people to connect on a local level. And what we're going to do is we initially launched it. It's a closed membership, but we'll launch it open, or rather we'll open it up again in February for a very short period of time. So if you are interested in being informed when we open that back up, you can go to cityprepping.com and you can click on the Join Us tab on the top of the screen to sign up for receiving notifications when we open the community back up. So all that to say, if you haven't already formed relationships with family members, friends, church members, or whatever social group you're involved with, to develop a group of individuals that you would trust in a disaster situation, I would encourage you this year to give it a lot of thought. All right, the third point is we have to be committed and we have to make that decision whether we will continue on our journey of learning and making improvements in our life. We have to work and we have to commit to continuous improvements. And this is, again, it's a lifestyle. This is not a one-off of, hey, I'll just go learn X and that's it. And when we speak about community, one of the things I find is when I think about the people that I want in my community and that I've built relationships with, there are people that I really think through of what skill do they bring to the table. So it's kind of like dating. You know, a lot of people are looking for the perfect person, but when you are someone that someone else is interested in, obviously it makes dating a lot easier. And in the same way, when you think about a community model, what is it you bring to the table? What skills, what knowledge, what ability, what practical things can you do to help enrich those around you? And knowledge is a tool that's just as vital as any physical supply that you could store away. And so this spring on the channel, as I mentioned earlier in the video, we're going to be focusing more on how-to videos. And we're going to be rolling out gardening videos. We're going to be doing a lot of suburban off-grid type of projects to help those in the city, in the suburban environment, individuals like myself, to help you develop those skills and those abilities that you're going to need. So again, we're going to be pivoting away from the more standard news and documentary style type of videos. We'll probably be doing a few here and there, but those aren't going to be the focus of the channel anymore. The focus and what we're building as a team is a pivot to these practical hands-on how-to videos. So yeah, I could say a lot about that, but you'll be seeing a lot more here in the next few weeks on that. All right, the fourth point, and the decision that we have to make, is be willing to adapt to changes. And this kind of pivots off the previous point. The world, as we all can see, is going through a lot of change right now. We're already seeing multiple threats of war on the horizon. We're seeing AI come together in ways that could be very substantial in the impact in our lives. It's without going on a tangent here, I recently met up with one of my old business partners. He owns a very large design agency. They create designs for brands, a lot of household brands that you would probably know. And what they're seeing in the market is a quick shift in certain technologies and abilities that were once relegated to individuals as a skill set. I also spent this past weekend with a friend of mine that works in Hollywood, and he does a lot of production on different movie sets. And they're seeing the impact of AI radically change their industry. And those are just in what you would kind of call the white collar type of, jobs. But increasingly, we're going to see more and more issues like these pop up where your ability to adapt to change is going to be so critical in how we live our lives. And I think that's why, at least I can say, I'm personally very interested in developing more skills, moving towards self-sufficiency, because those are things that, as far as I can tell at the moment, AI doesn't really have the ability to take away from us. So it's one of those things, getting back to this main point, is I've personally learned over the years that the ability to be flexible and to adapt, it gives me so much of a leg up on changes that come down the pipeline. I'll put it that way. And it can be a little scary. I know for me, it's easier, as I was thinking through this coming year of what I want to do with the channel, and it was easy to just say, let's go back to the old ways of doing things. Let's just stick with what we know. But and again, I'm just being transparent with you here. I'm trying to push myself out of my comfort zone, and I'm trying to learn to pick up new skills, because I refuse to allow myself to be the same person at the end of this year that I am today. Point number 5, and I know the first 4 points are things that we need to do, changes we need to make, decisions we have to make to implement into our lives. And again, these are not resolutions, but just the way of life as individuals that call themselves, like myself, as a prepper. We have to make these changes. But number 5 is an internal decision of having an attitude of gratitude. And it's easy to focus on the bad. And one of the decisions I have personally made here lately, and this is one of the reasons I want to pivot the channel more toward how-to videos, is I'm tired of focusing on the bad. I'm tired of focusing on the negative. I choose to focus on what I can do, what's within my realm, and I will choose to be thankful for what I have now. And I would encourage you not to lose sight of the joy and the beauty that we have in life. It is so easy within this community, let's be honest, to focus on the negative, but please do not lose that. Don't lose that ability to focus on the good that we have. In preparedness, it's about ensuring a future for ourselves and our loved ones. And I would encourage you to cherish these moments of peace and happiness that we have at this time, the relative peace and calm that we're in. Almost to a degree, I see this as a kind of the eye of the storm, that this time that we're in right now, where we have a break, where we can get our skills, our abilities together in this moment. But in this moment, I've chosen to focus on the good that I have. And I'm letting that be the fuel to motivate me and drive me forward. And look, it's not about living in a fear, or rather, it's not about living in fear of an uncertain future, but it's about being prepared. And I know the world is changing, and we're going to continue to see changes even more so over the next few years, but I refuse to allow myself to be robbed of the joy that I have in my life now. Now look, I mentioned earlier in the video that we're changing up the channel this year. And over the next few months, I'm going to be pivoting to mostly how-to types of videos. I'll be picking up some sponsors because inevitably the views on the channel will drop. And I still have a team to finance. I've got projects I want to do. And so I'll be picking up various sponsors of companies that I've worked with in the past that I respect and I trust. But we're going to be pivoting to a lot of how-to videos. So I hope you're ready to get busy. And over the last few weeks, when I took time off over the holidays, I try at the end of the year to let my team go for a couple of weeks. I try to take a step back. And it gave me an opportunity to step back and understand where I want to take the channel. And I personally, talking about vision, as I mentioned earlier a second ago, I've developed for myself in this channel a 3-year plan. The next 9 months on this channel, you're going to be seeing me building out and documenting a lot in a suburban backyard setup with projects. The vertical grow house that I've talked about since last summer, we got a lot of progress done over the last few weeks. I'm working with a contractor. We still have a little ways to go, but in the meantime, I'll be developing other projects and documenting that. But I am simultaneously shopping land at the moment. I hope to buy some in the next few months where I can begin to expand and do larger projects and eventually build out a bug out location over the next couple of years, and I'm going to document that process for the community. And it's going to take some time over the next few years to properly do. But if you follow my channel for any length of time, you know my heart is to teach. I tend to be very methodical. And as I'm looking to the next phase of where I want to go with this channel and take my community, and I hope you join me, is I want to teach, I want to document as I learn. I'm going to be making a lot of mistakes. There's going to be a lot of humility involved because I don't know it all, but I'm willing to subject myself and put myself out there to learn. And my goal is to build a setup that I can document for you, the community, showing the steps I've taken and the lessons I've learned. And so I'll summarize and land this plane. And by saying this, as I said earlier, I think this is going to be the year of preppers. And we can sit around and talk about the bad news all day. And I get it. It's easy to talk about the bad news. It feels good, right? We get sucked into this sometimes as preppers. But I would encourage you, let's be about the business of preparing. Now, obviously, if there's some major event or something that needs to be discussed on the channel, I'll bring it up and we'll discuss it. But for now, let's keep our head down and be about the business of preparing. I believe the time that we have is that right now, what we have is so important. And I don't say this lightly. Don't squander it. And I hope you can join me on this journey over these next several years as we get our hands dirty here on the team and we take you through the process that we're even trying to evolve and learn at a new level. So here's to a year of strength, community, preparedness, learning, and all the things that go into what we have chosen to do as a lifestyle. Happy New Year, and as always, stay safe out there.